I think we can agree that the mainline Pokemon games just wouldn't be the same without the iconic and sometimes goofy evil teams. They're typically the root of problems during the player's adventure, and you often have to storm into some sort of base to terminate their plans. And because I enjoy overanalyzing many different areas in Pokemon, it got me thinking, do any of these quote-unquote secret bases and headquarters actually live up to their name? Well, to answer that, I'm here today to rank every evil team base in the mainline games based on its security. The criteria I'll be using is pretty straightforward. Are the bases really well hidden, or are they just sitting out in the open asking to be explored? How easily can you traverse the place once you're inside? Are there puzzles and obstacles slowing you down, or can you just stroll through the place like it's no one else's business? And finally, do you come across any challenging battles, or are there just a bunch of measly grunts throwing ratatas at you over and over? From there, each base will be placed in 3 tiers, starting at the top with a locked down. Locations in this group are obscured very well, and it's gonna take you a while to make it through. You may even lose a battle or two thanks to the tough opponents. Tier 2 is somewhat secure, as a couple aspects of the base could pose to be an issue, but it's not the end of the world by any means. Everything else below that is easily accessible. I mean, the first of the 3 little pigs did a better job of securing its house than these bases did. Also, it's worth mentioning I'll be looking at how each area appeared in its original game, and I'm not including things like the Silphco or Seafloor Cavern, since the teams didn't construct those spots themselves. Without further ado though, let's get straight into using code TerraQuake10 at checkout at drinkcontrol.com to get up to 30% off on the best meal replacement products out there. Okay, we're actually getting into it now. I'd say there's no better place to start other than with the Team Rocket hideout in Celadon City. It's already one of the most well-concealed bases in this entire video, as it's completely masked by the game corner. The only way to gain access is by hitting the switch behind one of the posters, which would take much longer to find if the Team Rocket grunt wasn't blatantly staring at it. While there's no incredibly difficult fights down here, and that one grunt basically gives you the lift key, we gotta touch on the spinning tile puzzles. Sure, it's easy to navigate when viewing it from a top-down perspective, but what if you were seeing it from the eyes of the trainer? Oh my gosh, this drawing is horrible. I mean, y'all can get what I'm going for though here, right? You have no idea where some of the tiles will take you, and you'll get dizzy very quickly. Who knows, you might even pass out and end up with Mr. Fuji or something. For those reasons, I'll stick the Rocket hideout in locked down, but more so towards the bottom. The only other warehouse Team Rocket constructed was, well, the Rocket Warehouse on 5 Island. I gotta respect the seclusion here, and you do need 2 passwords from other islands to enter the building. Oh, hold up, they even change depending on what language you're playing in? That's pretty dope. Most of them are also palindromes, which is neat. The inside isn't all that elaborate though. There's only 1 floor and a pretty simple spin tile puzzle. None of the admin fights are too challenging either, keeping the Rocket Warehouse near the top of Group 2. Even in Johto, Team Rocket wasn't through with their evil schemes, as they camped out in the headquarters under Mahogany Town. Now, according to some grunts you can speak with, this used to be a ninja base, but they apparently did some renovations, hence why I'm still including the Rocket headquarters in this tier list. With that being said, it's yet another stronghold that isn't too obvious. I mean, if Lance doesn't hyper beam the dude in the souvenir store and move the shelf, then who knows if it would have ever been found. Upon heading down, you can tell this place is heavily safeguarded. They've got Persian security cameras, albeit you can turn them off, booby-trapped floors, and doors that require multiple passcodes. Once again, no battles stand out to me, but the sheer amount of protection puts the headquarters right alongside its Kanto counterpart. Hoenn begins with the Team Magma hideout inside Mount Chimney, and this is arguably the most covert base on the list, as not only do you need a specific item, that being the Magma emblem, to open the entrance on the Jagged Pass, but the emblem can only be found by reaching the summit of Mount Pyre. So yeah, your average Joe isn't going to be able to waltz right in. As for the inside, it isn't all that confusing. There's various tunnel systems, a couple of which lead to dead ends, but lava is also present, making the cavern more dangerous. Maxie and his admin aren't too tough, but the method of getting in here alone makes me want to stick the hideout in locked down. The Generation 3 games also play home to the evil team base by Lily Cove City, which is a problem as you can easily locate the entrance. The appearance doesn't change much between Ruby and Sapphire, and even though there are warp panels, I wouldn't consider them to be as annoying of an obstacle as the spin tiles, because you'll eventually find your way through trial and error. Not to mention the admin battle is a piece of cake, and many of the regular grunts can be skipped. So congrats to Lily Cove Hideout, you are considered easily accessible. Sinnoh also features 2 Evil Team headquarters, starting with the Galactic Building in Eterna City. First off, let's just ignore Pokemon logic for a second and address the cut trees at the front. Any competent person is going to be able to move some branches and squeeze by the shrubs to enter the building. But of course, in Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, you can only get by using cut. Either way, that's just not secure in my opinion. The floors look like any regular old office building, but for once, the admin fight carries most of the weight. This is all thanks to Commander Jupiter's illegal level 20 Skuntank. It knows Night Slash, a very strong move for this stage in the game, and its Poison Dark typing makes it only weak to ground. There are just 3 ground types you can have at this point: Geodude, Onix, and a Sandy Cloak Wormadam if you're really thinking outside the box. The latter 2 probably don't possess a ground type move by the second gym though, so Skuntank can really be a pain to deal with. So the Jupiter battle alone moves the Galactic Building into somewhat secure. Team Galactic's other hub also sits out in the open in Veilstone City. And by the way, I'm grouping the Galactic Warehouse with it as well since they do connect to each other. The headquarters absolutely tower over every other structure in town, making it pretty hard to avoid. It also doesn't help that the way you gain access inside is by picking up the storage key that the random grunt just tossed to the ground. There are plenty of different sections and doors that require unlocking, but the showdowns with Commander Saturn and Cyrus aren't too threatening. As a result, I'm sticking this place right next to the one from Eterna City. Team Plasma's first base in Unova is the P2 Laboratory, funnily enough. Yeah, I mean, members of the organization did reside here at one point to work on the Genesect project. It is sort of off the grid on Route 17, but any good swimmer can reach the island, head inside, and mess around with all the equipment. So the P2 Laboratory is undoubtedly going in Tier 3. On the other hand, Ents Castle is somehow hidden underground for a majority of Pokemon Black and White. Whoever the construction workers were deserve major props. However, it eventually rises up and becomes impossible to ignore. I mean, it's basically breaking news at that point. While the whole underground aspect is great, there's no extra security within the castle. Then again, the back-to-back battles with N and Getsis are definitely some of the toughest out of any Evil Team base. Thus, Ents Castle slides into Tier 1. Lastly for Unova is the Plasma Frigate. This behemoth of a ship is already hard to board thanks to its ability to literally fly in the air. It's also one of the more highly guarded bases due to the 2 electric gate puzzles that involve stepping on switches or uncovering a password. The Colress battle within the Giant Chasm is a good challenge as well, so the Plasma Frigate checks all the boxes of being locked down. Team Flare's fortresses are both relatively tucked away. There's the Lysander Labs, which is blocked by a shelf inside one of the coffee shops. Granted, this particular one screams suspicion thanks to the eerie red lighting. Behind the shelf lies your typical teleporters, admin fights, and even a clash with Lysander himself, but I don't think any of the battles are hard necessarily. I mean, come on, Lysander doesn't even have a full set of moves on half his squad. I'll just consider the labs somewhat secure. Team Flare's secret headquarters, meanwhile, can be found northwest of Geosenge Town. I respect the whole secret Minecraft house vibes that they're going for here, but I think even my little cousin could figure out that something's wrong with this rock.
First we Terra, then we Quake.
The interior only features one big room, accompanied by a bunch of corridors, but at least the 2 Lysander battles are more difficult than the one in Lumio City. Oh yeah, and let's not forget, there's a legendary Mon just chilling at the bottom. If Team Flare was smart, they could have easily turned Xerneas or Yveltal into some kind of defense mechanism. So I'll slot the secret headquarters at the very bottom of the first category. Alola's Team Skull actually doesn't own any bases, as Po-Town was just overran by them at a certain point. Instead, we'll take a look at the Aether Foundation, since those people are also considered the bad guys. Although it is an isolated island, the employees put on a friendly facade and invite the player to freely travel to the Foundation. I suppose any normal person wouldn't be able to reach the island as effortlessly though. With that being said, there's not a lot of security measures as you can roam through the different floors. I think Lucamine's mansion is really the only part that's heavily guarded. Speaking of Lucamine, her and Guzma provide pretty tough battles, which helps the Aether Paradise sneak into Tier 1. Strangely enough, the Aether House on Ula Ula Island is considered a base too, and not much needs to be said about it as you can explore it without many interruptions, so straight to the bottom you go. Lastly for the Gen 7 titles is Team Rocket's Castle. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is how you construct a base. It already resides in a remote area thanks to taking over the Aether Foundation, and every previous evil team leader must be fought here. I mean, it doesn't get any more challenging than that, and I have yet to acknowledge the onslaught of warp panels, memory puzzles, and spin tiles. Yeah, Team Rocket's castle is deservedly the best of the best. Pokemon Sword and Shield introduced Team Yell, but you cannot convince me that these guys have built the entirety of Spike Myth. Plus, I'd rather trust my lore that I came up with in a recent video and believe that the city was normal before getting invaded at some point. Therefore, let's just check out Rose Tower. Gaining access to it isn't much of a problem, and at the end of the day, it's one giant elevator. Additionally, most of the battles involve beating those macrocosmos people. I guess Oleana could give you some trouble depending on your team composition. Nonetheless, I don't see Rose Tower placing any higher than somewhat secure. The latest and maybe not greatest Pokemon games, Scarlet and Violet, did things a bit differently, as all of Team Star's bases sit out in the open and have a similar layout. On top of that, there's usually a simple fight that you must win in order to enter the base and defeat 30 Pokemon within 10 minutes. None of that is very hard, and 4 of the 5 leaders are easy to deal with in my opinion. The only one I specifically remember struggling with was Airy, as I think I lost at least 2 or 3 times. So I'll place most of the Team Star bases in the lower half of somewhat secure, but I'll slot the Calf Squad's base a little higher. And with that, we've ranked every evil team base in Pokemon based on its security. To me, it looks like Team Rocket and Plasma really have things down, but there are a few other good ones up there, and when Generation 10 finally drops, it'll be interesting to see how the new evil team stacks up. Feel free to let me know what landmarks I should rank next, but for now, I hope y'all enjoyed, have a great rest of your day, and until next time, deuces!